Really looking forward to this topic here on blockchain, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies that really changing our world today. And you probably have heard a little bit about it, unless you're living under a rock somewhere. But if you get out there and see what's happening, it's amazing. And there's reasons for that. So what we're going to do today is show you what it is. This is for the beginner. This is for those that are saying, oh, what is that thing? Well, okay, we're going to do it. And I promise I'll do it in plain English. Okay, we're going to do it easy because this is something that is really big. It is changing our world, I think, for the better. And anything that's going to change the world, obviously, there's going to be some questions about it and probably a little bit of controversy, no matter what it is. But we want to deal with that today and be able to give you some of the information that's going to be really most helpful for what you're doing, how you're using it, and the kind of things that are available that you can use. So we're going to talk about how these features work, the kind of things that can be done with it, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen with you. We can do that kind of thing and let you see it as we look at an introduction to blockchain, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrencies, the kind of things that you need to know from a practical point of view. And matter of fact, I've got a lot of information for you to help answer questions. I've got the website BrockonBlockchain.com, and you can bounce over there, and there's several videos that you'll be able to see. And it's something you can go over there, just take a look at them, find out what it is, no charge at all, and you get a chance to experiment with that. When you go over there, you'll see something like this on there, where you'll see the talk about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, what they are, and you'll see several different videos that are there that talk about it from a real estate point of view, how crypto is doing, what practical applications are in different areas, using crypto and blockchain, particularly blockchain, in voting and how that can be done. Lots of good opportunities there. So all of that is over on Blockchain. Hey, not everybody's got a name Brock, but Brock and Blockchain. I thought that would be pretty cool to get that. And also, if you'd like, I've got videos over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Agorapreneurs. It's the entrepreneurs who believe in the Agora lifestyle, or the idea of voluntary living. Live and let live is really what it's all about. Here's something I think it really sets the tone for what crypto and blockchain are all about. This quote from Thomas Paine: "The world is my country. All mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion." I like that. It's the idea of living peacefully and helping, and that's what crypto is all about. Where we are today, we're seeing it used in many different ways. Here's a scene. I was on a television show, nationwide TV show, talking about Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and how they are being used today, what's happening with it, and it's got some real exciting things and marvelous features in it that we're going to talk about today. And matter of fact, what's going on right now, just as of a few days ago, El Salvador became the first country ever to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. That means you can go and buy things on the street, products and services, using Bitcoin. They have also have been using the US dollar for a while, but now they're embracing this and they're going through. It's fun to see what's happening because there are a couple little bumps there, but then they work it out and make sure it's going well. And this is particularly important for a country like El Salvador. About 25-30% of their total gross product for their country is from remittances. People who go to other countries, they work, and then they send money back. Doing that through some of the services that are available, where they send it through wires, and others have been really difficult, because what happens is you do that through a wire service, and the bad guys know someone's going to that place and will be walking out with cash. So there's problems there with theft, or they have embezzlement. And we see also often there's very high fees with it. Using Bitcoin and using a Lightning network, which is something that goes on top of it to make it easy, they're able to get this and do it practically in El Salvador right now. Oh, and by the way, I saw this just last night, not too far from me. I'm in Orlando, Florida, just down the road in Miami. They are now saying they're generating $2,000 for the city every 10 minutes using their Miami coin. So in using crypto, there's a lot there. Matter of fact, I thought this was nice. Look what the mayor said. Miami's mayor believes that if city-specific cryptos succeed, it would mean residents won't have to pay a cent in tax. Ooh, I like that part. Sounds really good. So I think there's some real opportunities, and no matter what, we need to take a look at it. My friend Roger Ver, who has been talking about this for a long time, talks about the benefits of using crypto and how it gives you the freedom to do what you want. You're able to do a lot more with that, and particularly for those who are unbanked. About 1 to 2 billion people in the world just don't have a bank. And by using crypto, they're able to do a whole lot more. He started Bitcoin.com, and shows people exactly how to do it. By the way, that's a good place to go to learn more about crypto, getting started, actually get some if that's right for you. And you can do that over at bitcoin.com. Well, as we take a look at what blockchain is, it's not just for the coins anymore. We know that it's the underlying premise for Bitcoin and for being used in other ways too, but it's not just about the coins. Bitcoin is the most famous use of it. And what it is, it's a series of instructions that are tied to mathematics. And by having it tied to mathematics, it makes sure that things are done properly. It's not subject to some central bank that is printing money. And we see that with Bitcoin, they're only going to have a certain number, 21 million. And when they reach that limit, they're practicing building them right now. We call that mining. And when they reach that limit, there will be no more created. They will be traded. And that means it's going to be inflation proof. So we won't have to worry about the challenges we've had before. Well, let's look at blockchain and what that is. First of all, blockchain is important. It is a distributed ledger technology. Think of it kind of like a database where everything is connected there. This is a key factor here as well. It's decentralized, meaning that you don't have all the money in one place or in one place that's making the decisions. By decentralization, it means that people around the world are aware of what's happening and it becomes distributed that way. Also, we see it has superior security. Think about for a moment, Equifax had a break-in a little while ago, and 43 million people had their private information exposed. And you can think about why the bad guys would want to do that. They know that if they get that information, they can use it for ransomware. We've seen that happen. They can also get that and find out about people, private information, be able to sell that on the black market. Whereas with blockchain, instead of putting it all in one place, you would distribute it to many different places, and the code changes every 15 minutes. So that it's almost impossible. It has had numerous hundreds, if not thousands, of attacks on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has never been hacked that way. Now, some of the exchanges have, but not Bitcoin itself. It has. It's an append only and immutable. That means it cannot be changed. Time-stamped chain of content. So this way we know they can't tell us one thing is true when it's not. It can be seen and it's available to everyone who would have access to that. And it's even bigger than the internet itself. Well, let me show you a diagram that I saw that really helped me to figure it out. This is something that came, I think, real good. This is from McKinsey & Company. Start over there at about the 2 o'clock position. You'll see it is sent to distributed nodes with unique crypto signature. So we start with that. Actually, I should say back at the 12 o'clock there, number one, the electronic message is created and you have the transaction details of everything there. Then over there at 2 o'clock, it is sent to the distributed nodes, the unique signature. Down here around the 4 o'clock position, number 3 is economic race to be the first to validate the transaction. These are people that are racing to find out the validation of it using their computers for that. And then around the 4th step, is confirmation as a broadcast that is sent to the rest of the network. So every computer that's there in that distribution that has what's called a node is informed of it. And step number 5, a block is added to all distributed ledger copies so that every distributor out there, every node has a copy of it and knows what's going on. No one can say, oh, this is the way it was, and someone else disputes that. And then the network replicates the record of verified transactions so that everyone on that network sees what's going on. And so how is this blockchain being used in practical application? Well, of course, with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin particularly, but also it's good for record keeping. Think of it like a database, but it's a database that cannot be changed. It can only be appended. We see what's going on there. The security on here is phenomenal. It is the most secure way of keeping records and keeping tabs of what's going on with it. And we have immutable records. People might wonder, well, what is that? Well, it just means that it cannot be changed. It will be there and also used that way. And the practical applications, there are quite a few of them. Finance, mortgages, transportation, voting, gambling, debt, crowdfunding, global payments. Those are particularly important, the global payments, because we can send money around the world very fast and at very low cost. E-commerce is using it. Supply chain, it is exquisite for this. And peer-to-peer lending makes it much easier. You can get the poor or be able to do much better because they will be able to get money that they couldn't get before. Contracts, we get what's called a smart contract so that we keep a track of what's going on, and it's organized by mathematics, not just by people. Intellectual property, musical artist payments. This is really nice. We'll talk about that in just a moment, and a whole lot more. So this is what we're seeing with blockchain. It's giving faster international payments, faster and much cheaper than traditional methods. It also is a miracle for smart contracts, managing all aspects of it from origination to fulfillment, meaning that we're able to see what's going on without any of the shenanigans that could go on and do go on with the other ways we do contracts. Far superior security than in just one location, as we've mentioned. And the cryptocurrencies that are using it, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many others, there's probably about 8,000 different cryptocurrencies out there, more being added all the time. Some of them are good, some of them are not. And no one can say this is the one that is going to do it. We do know that Bitcoin, however, is the one that is the standard. It has been around longer than others. Now, there's a lot of opportunity. I've heard some very good things about other coins that are out there, but be aware that there are many out there, and we're seeing a whole universe growing on this. Now, some have said, wait a minute. This Bitcoin, isn't that just for criminals? Isn't that just for the bad guys using it for there? Well, actually not. Actually, the most used type of currency is the US dollar in the underworld, because the US dollar has no record of it. If someone makes a transaction in Bitcoin, we know about that. It is not anonymous. People can trace it. Think about the Colonial Pipeline that had the malware and had the coercion that was going on earlier this year. We saw that with the ransomware. They were able to find out who did that by tracing it back. And so you can see the criminals are really staying away from Bitcoin because they know it's not going to be very private. There are other coins that are more private, but Bitcoin is definitely not being used for privacy. And then that leads to another argument. Some have said, well, government probably should ban Bitcoin or other coins like that. Some are talking about that. I don't think that would be a good idea, and I don't think you're going to be able to. Matter of fact, I'm not the only one, but banning currency like that was talked about. Hester Pierce had something to say about that, and she's a commissioner of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, very prominent. She's in charge. She's the commissioner and said that banning Bitcoin is like shutting down the internet. I don't see how you could ban it. I think it would be a foolish thing for the government to try to do that, she opined, noting, I think it's very difficult to ban something that's essentially a peer-to-peer technology. I think she hit the nail on the head there. She said that it's there. We also saw another congressman that talked about it, studied this a lot, and has looked at it in the Finance Committee in Congress. Congressman Patrick McHenry said that back in 2019, he made this statement that Bitcoin was unstoppable, adding, we should not attempt to deter this innovation, and governments cannot stop this innovation, and those who have tried have already failed. And so when we look at what it is, there's a lot we can do with smart contracts. This makes for smoother transactions. It makes for faster transactions as well as for more secure transactions that we're going to have. And you think about that, smoother, faster, and more secure, that's better all the way around. Oh, and by the way, less expensive than what we have before. We can do a lot with that. And matter of fact, what we can do with the smart contracts, the smart contracts give you the ability to keep track of what's going on. As an example, I remember it was a guy named Sergey Nazarov, who was in charge of a smart contracts company himself. He talked to me about the benefits of using contracts and a blockchain to keep track of something like, for instance, suppose you've got some vegetables or fruit coming from Hong Kong to New York. You've got a lot of transactions, a lot of things are going to happen between that. You've got to get the food, keep it at a certain temperature, can't be too hot, can't be too cold. You've got to take it across the Pacific to probably Panama, go through the Panama Canal, up through the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic, up to New York, then unloaded there in New York and taken over to the dock. There's a lot of things to keep track of, a lot of people who want payments. Well, what you can do with a smart contract is you build in all those variables. So you can say, well, let's see, we need something that's going to be, we're going to have it, it must stay within this temperature range, can't be this cold, and it can't be any hotter than this. We keep it in there. Well, we have sensors that track that, and the smart contract can make sure that that is left in place or the payments don't go out. And then when the boat arrives, the ship arrives there in Panama, some payments might be needed to be made. Well, that can be done automatically. You don't have to wait for a human being to approve it or to maybe look the other way. It is done automatically by mathematics. And when it's done that way, it takes out the human error that can be involved. So this is looking good. It means there's going to be some people that are being paid for these kind of events with a contract, and they're not going to be doing that kind of work. They'll do something else, but we'll see that it's going to be immutable. It won't be able to be changed once the agreeing parties have put it in place. And then it goes through, say the ship goes through the Panama Canal, has to do that in a certain amount of time, maintaining certain conditions. It leaves there, goes up to New York. When it arrives, all of the little details are put together in a smart contract. And that smart contract is really what helps us to make sure that things are done the right way. And it's done not by trusting, say, maybe a human being that's going to do it, but rather we say, okay, this is how we're going to follow it through. So it really takes that human element and from chance of a problem out of the equation. Sergei Nazarov is a person that has talked a lot about that, and he was explaining some of those in an interview I had with him earlier. Matter of fact, you can see that over on BrockonBlockchain.com. You'll be able to see that and some other interviews that are there as well on how these smart contracts can work and can really help you. But here's something I think is just really exciting for me. The real benefits of blockchain. These blockchain-enabled kiosks make coffee farmers more money and let you verify your beans when you get those coffee beans. See, small farmers in developing countries who produce 70 to 80% of the world's coffee supply are often at a market disadvantage. Middlemen decide on the quality of the crop, and they have an incentive to downgrade it, to set prices, and decide how and when farmers get paid. The kiosk, on the other hand, run by blockchain, gives objective feedback on coffee and pays farmers immediately. I like that. By using blockchain, there's no going one direction or another. You're able to get what you need. Another example is often in a very large contract. Sometimes what will happen is people will say, "Hey, what's we're going to do is we're not going to pay because you didn't deliver." And they'll say it's $1 million contract, and they'll say, "Well, we're just not going to pay you." And they'll say, "Wait a minute, we did. We gave it to you. Here it is, a sign." No, we're just not going to pay. And so then they say, "Well, okay, we're going to go to court." Well, you go to court, and you're going to have fees of $500,000 or whatever it'll be. And then they have a decision. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go to court. You're going to end up paying all this in legal fees. And then at the end, you'll only get the $500,000. You're going to have to pay for your legal fees. Instead, how about if we just split the difference here, something like that? Well, with a smart contract, that would not happen, because the smart contract is set up so that it says, hey, when this is fulfilled, when this step is fulfilled, the payments go automatically. Money is already there. So we're taking that chance of human intervention, human shenanigans, we'll say, out of the picture so that we don't have to worry about that. Blockchain makes it a much more stable, and it makes it a much more fair and secure environment. We see that those kind of things are going to be the way that we can do life in the future, to give us the kind of things that are going to help us to decide what needs to be done, how it should be done, and then from there to make sure that it is done according to the plan and according to what's already been said and done. Another benefit, healthcare. Blockchain with the healthcare solves many of the great problems that we have commonly today. Here's some examples. Management of insurance claims. We know that when a claim is done, by putting it on a contract, we see it, and then it goes quickly to the parties that are involved and not to parties that are not involved for privacy. Remotely monitoring patients, can monitor the patients, keep track of what's going on, so that way healthcare professionals could keep eyes on screens as well as people and be able to do that and watch the blockchain keeping track of that. Pharmaceutical industry can do more tracking to find out where the chemicals, where the prices came from, and where they ended up. Electronic health records will be kept so that, here's one thing I really like about it, you can then send the records to the people that you want to have it, but not the people that you don't. For instance, you could have your healthcare on blockchain, and you want to send your doctor certain elements of what your last physical showed, but you don't necessarily need them to see, say, your dentist report. And your dentist might need to see the dental records, but not everything that happened, say, if you had tonsillectomy. And so we can see that by keeping it accurate, keeping it safe, and the patient controls that, or the person that the patient decided to give authority on that, makes it so much better. It's also more secure because we're using the benefits of this to make sure that it's in place. Patient controls the access of it. The patient is the one that says, I want this healthcare provider to see it, but not that one. It's never lost because this is blockchain and it's scattered enough places that we know we've got those copies that are not going to change. Select pieces can be available, like I mentioned before, we'll do that. And it is secure lifetime records across many providers so that we can make sure that it's done properly in the right way. And the healthcare professionals are working on the details, the logistics, and all the, yeah, but what about kind of situations that are emerging on that. Another area where I am particularly excited about blockchain is with artists, and artists who are going to be able to be paid fairly as never before. With all the streaming options available today, artists struggle to make a living off their royalties, mainly because streaming platforms aren't transparent when it comes to play statistics. The blockchain will simplify rights management for music artists because it will provide a single source of truth for their art. It will be easier to establish ownership, count plays, and pay artists what they are due. I love it. I'm not a musical artist myself, but I know many that are, and often they're doing the starving artist routine they talk about. By using blockchain, we ensure that it's going to be fair, that those who were involved in recordings will be paid as they should. A friend of mine, Tatiana Moroz, talks about this. She is a musician and has done that, has her fan base following her and being able to pay in cryptocurrency so that way she is paid and the fans get added benefits as well because they can put in extra announcements or give them extra new songs or let them be the first. And by using blockchain, we stay in touch with them. Here's a way to do this. For instance, with accurate royalty splits, making sure that the artists are being paid and that others are getting paid who were involved in that. Clear, accountable transactions and faster transaction. That means a lot. Somebody might say, yeah, we'll pay you, and then it doesn't come around for a long time. By using blockchain, you can have that done very quickly. And by very quickly, it depends on which one you're using. But with Bitcoin, there are different speeds depending on what you want done. It can be done within a few seconds, a few minutes, or maybe a day or two. It depends on the kind of transaction you set up and how you structure that. You can listen and viewing and listening. We see the usage details. This can be really helpful for artists, not just from getting paid point of view, but also from knowing which tunes are more popular and which ones people like and which ones they don't like as much. Micropayments can be made. This is really nice with things like the Lightning Network that can be tied to Bitcoin. We can make payments of as little as 1, 2, 3 cents, 5 cents for something. So would you pay 5 cents to listen to this song? Yeah, sure. That's not very much with one person. But when you multiply that out over millions for each song, that means artists can be compensated and their fans feel good about saying, here, I'm going to give you some money. I'll give $1 for this one. I like this song a lot. I'll give you $2 for it or whatever. And they would get a chance to decide. Musicians are compensated and fans feel better about what they're able to do. And even more that we can do with it. All kinds of possibilities there. Matter of fact, I've got another resource here for you. If you go to bit.ly/use blockchain, you'll see bit.ly/use blockchain. You'll be able to see some examples of using this in travel. When you travel, by putting it on blockchain, that way you don't have to show your ID over and over and over and worry about losing something. You can have that, and in a blockchain using biometrics, we can make sure that it's more secure in travel, but also easier and smoother. So that when you're going through security, traveling to another country, going through customs and duties there, and then go to the hotel and have to go through even more checking, with blockchain, we smooth that out and make it so much faster and better for all parties involved in it. Real estate, boy, here's something really important right now. My partner, Gina Carr, is going through some real estate transactions right now and working in some areas to get the real estate put together. I'm noticing all the vast amount of paperwork and all kinds of people that need to be involved in commission to this and commission to that. Blockchain can smooth a lot of that out as well. Using smart contracts, not a trusted third party, gives you the ability to make sure that it's what needs to be done is done, and at the same time we make sure that it's much faster and a whole lot less expensive. Tokenization of property for liquidity. So for instance, you might own a piece of a property, just a small token in there, and as the price of that property goes up, you're able to enjoy that. This tokenization can do a lot. Fractional ownership is what we're talking about here. This way you're able to get a lot more involvement, and people will be able to get involved, benefit from the benefits of real estate, but also we see that that way it can move real estate that might have a difficulty doing that. And fraud reduction, because it's going to be harder to break through mathematics, which is what the blockchain is about, rather than just someone saying, oh yeah, we're going to do it this way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Great cost savings in it by far. And that is similar to a very hot topic right now, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. These non-fungible tokens are part of this, giving artists and giving lots of people. Matter of fact, you listening to this, if you are creating content, this is something that can help you. We're going to tell you a way you can get some good information on content creation and how to do that at no charge. We're going to do that at the end of this program here, let you see the kind of ways that you can do it. With non-fungible, it is unique. It's also something that is very rare, and we can use that for something that is indivisible, making sure that it's working very well all around. Recently, they had a digital artist. We have a digital artist who was able to sell a work for $69,346,250. This was an artist known as Beeple. And that money went for a particular painting that was done. Someone valued that so that they could own the rights to that and be able to use it. Well, the non-fungible tokens, what can it be? It can be digital art, so that you say, hey, I like this thing and I want to hang on to it. It can be music, so that your music is then stored in the blockchain, and we know who wrote it, who has purchased that, who has not, etc. Pictures can be done as well. Video, an event ticket, all of this available to be a non-fungible token, and even more. This becomes a real-world asset, something that you have so you can say, hey, this is real. Think of it, for instance, sometimes people will pay a lot of money for a chair. Why? Not because of the functionality of the chair, but because a certain person was said to have sat in that chair. Or this was the real scarf that she wore in the movie such and such, and people like it. This is what happens when we say, okay, we want to do that. But now with an NFT, we can know who really had that, where did it come from, and trace it. It's an opportunity for in-person meeting and for virtual meetings as well, and many, many more. We've actually had things like this for quite a while. For instance, with domain names, I have my website, terrybrock.com, and those are available. A Twitter handle that you have, that's kind of a NFT in of itself, and an Instagram address that you have. Well, that's for you. You want to have that. You want only you having that available. Here's my website at terrybrock.com. And so I would have the right to keep that. If somebody says, hey, they're going to have a website at terrybrock.com, they can't, because we know that I have it, and as long as I'm paying the fees and making sure it's up to date every year. And the difference with NFTs, well, these non-fungible tokens are transferable to someone. You own it, so you can give it to someone if you want. And it's blockchain registered authenticity. Yeah, baby, because that means no one can come along and say, no, you don't own that. You can show that you do. And you can trace it back to a blockchain, which is truth and cannot be changed by using NFTs. Our real world uses of it, real estate fractional ownership. To make sure the property can get on market faster, we have more money because more people can get involved in that and say, hey, we want a little bit of that. Music as well as art mentioned, and gaming. Hey, for those of those that are gamers, weapons and skins, you can have an NFT of that, making it more valuable, and sell that. My nephew is using those kind of things right now and selling the weapons, the skins, doing things that I don't know what's going on, but it's real important. And lots of little entrepreneurs around the world are working with that now. Samsung has their phones and engine. This is one of their ways that they use tokens as well, and it has grown. It's growing and getting larger all the time. So we're seeing Louis Vuitton as well. But here's one that is really interesting. I want you to think about this if you're an artist or if you are a thought leader. We're seeing someone like Floyd Mayweather has an NFT collection available now on Rarible. Floyd Mayweather. This guy is smart. Not only is he a great boxer, he's also very smart in what he's doing. He's put this out. He had something that he had a collection started on May 26th this year over on Rarible. And what happened is the legendary boxer and sports icon, Floyd Mayweather, first ever NFT collection is officially available on Rarible. The drop includes digital collectibles celebrating the legacy of Mayweather Jr.'s life and career, including, get this, animations, physical artwork, and access to both his virtual and in-person meet and greets. Think about that. For the NFT that you would pay, you get a chance to then meet him. Select non-fungible tokens are also associated with physical prints in addition to be logged forever on the blockchain. The final single limited edition auction piece can include, get this, private boxing lessons and dinner with Mayweather Jr., in addition to a custom diamond ring. Don't miss out on the legacy collection. Do you think there are people that would be willing to pay a price to have Floyd Mayweather teach them boxing? I think so. And those that would want that would be willing to do this. Well, now think about it. Suppose you are an expert. Maybe you're working with BIGVU in their expert program, which, by the way, if you don't know about that, that's another way that you as an expert can make money, working with BIGVU on that. NFT is a way that you can do this as an expert and say, have someone that could have a consultation with you. They buy the NFT and they can use that at some time. So assessing the NFTs, it's going to awaken many to cryptocurrencies through the NFT deployment, those non-fungible tokens. Currently difficult to code and develop. So we're in the early stages right now. Takes a little bit of skill for that. Can be done, but I predict it will start getting easier. People will come up with better tools for that. And need a lot easier way to develop and use. So it's going to be there when there's a market demand. That's an entrepreneurial opportunity. And I think we've got some possibilities there. And it's going to change our view of ownership for the better. That we're going to look at what we can own and what we don't need to own. Do we really need to own that car? Maybe we just need to use a car now and then. This is revolutionary thinking that is changing. With an NFT, we might choose to own the keepsake or some token that we got from a very famous person that we admire. So a lot of possibilities are there. Well, here are my recommendations as we're moving forward. What I would recommend for you as we look at cryptocurrencies, blockchain, the NFTs, all of that. Study the blockchain and cryptocurrency spaces. Start looking at that. See what's available out there. Put that on the horizon for you. And only invest what you can afford to lose. I'm not making any kind of financial advice right here today. I'm not qualified for that, and I wouldn't do it anyway. I just say, I do think, though, you should invest in your learning and your education. That is most important. And think long term. Too many people look at the price of Bitcoin or crypto, which, by the way, today has been down over what it was in the last few weeks. And it looks like it could be going down. Some are saying, hey, Bitcoin is on sale. And they want to go out and buy some because it's low. They feel that it will go back up. Others are saying, hey, I want to get out of here. So I'm not telling you what to do one way or another. But I think long term, you want to get educated. This is something that is not going away. Coinbase.com is a place where you can go and actually buy some, put in your credit card. River.com, Bitcoin Cash. These are 3 places where you can do it, and there are many others out there as well. But you can go and you can actually buy some Bitcoin if you want. I find that when someone buys it, they become a whole lot more interested. And maybe even just a little bit. I find for me, often I use a idea that would I spend this much on a luncheon for business? If I had a client come to town and we were going to go out to dinner, we're going to go out for a luncheon, whatever, how much would I spend for that luncheon? And that kind of money, if I have a decision to make on something and we've got it, not going to worry about it. You might look at that as well if that's right for you. And it's very good to earn it. Matter of fact, in Miami, the 305 Paradise City, we call it. 305 is the area code there. 305 Paradise City. People are getting paid now in Bitcoin. If you work for the city government of Miami, you can elect to be paid in Bitcoin. You don't have to be, it's up to you. But if you want to, you can do that. And then using the Lightning Network, you can convert it immediately, or pretty close to immediately, to whatever it is equivalent to in US dollars, so that you would be able to make payments elsewhere on that. I like the idea of having that choice. And another thing to do right now, many of us are choosing to HODL. We call that HODL, hold on for dear life. Just hang on to those Bitcoins and see what's going to happen if they go up. Not so much spending, because in the United States, when you sell one, or if you spend it, it is treated as property and you will have tax due on that. So make sure you're fully compliant, do things the right way, do it paying the taxes that are due on that. Check with the tax authority, your CPA, your accountant, that can make sure that that's done, so you're doing things the right way and the legal way. And keep learning and keep earning. Keep going with that. Don't forget, over on BrockonBlockchain, we've got some goodies for you. We got those videos that are there, a lot of training and learning that you're going to be able to get a chance to experience, to see what it is like, and take your education to the next level. And by the way, all of this is free, no charge at all. Just get over there and you get a chance to watch it, see what's happening, and look at it, see what's available at BrockonBlockchain.com. And that will help you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up for questions or observations or complaints, whatever. I'd love to hear from you on what your thoughts are. And if you have any questions, Tal, I'll also open it up to you, because I have not been watching the chat session here. I know you keep an eye on that. We appreciate you doing that, Tal. Any comments or questions or things you want me to be aware of?
Yeah. So thank you so much for the presentation, first of all. So we had a few questions. Feel free to ask some more. This is the time for that. I sent in the chat Terry's information. He also has a free course if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, that's terrybrock.com/5K, the number 5 and a lowercase k. terrybrock.com/5K. There's 3 videos there on content creation, everything from how do you get the ideas, what kind of tools do you use, including BIGVU. Put that through, make sure you see that, and then how do you disseminate it? How do you get it out to the world? And how do you tell it? That's available for you for free if you are creating content, or you know someone who's creating content. That free thing is my gift to say thank you to the people that have helped me, and a way for me to pay it forward to help you.
Amazing. Okay, so we have the course, and we have, of course, all the information that we talked today, and free videos that Terry mentioned. I also sent the link for that. And let's start with the first question. It's now displayed.
Yes, Bitcoin is used on blockchain for payment. Yes, we use that, and it can be done that way, although it's really more for holding it. There's a thing that's put on top of it that's kind of clamped on top, called the Lightning Network, that helps a little bit more to do it faster. That's what they're using in El Salvador. But you still could take Bitcoin, and you have someone else that has Bitcoin. I say, hey, I like that widget you have. How much do you want for it? You say, well, I want this much money, and you can divide a Bitcoin up to many, many different decimal places, even lower than 1 penny. But you were able to do that. So you would use the Bitcoin, blockchain, and other cryptocurrencies for payment.
Great. He actually said that he talked in Clubhouse about NFTs.
Yes, those NFTs are very popular, because it really opens up a way of getting paid for people like the artists and people, others, the farmers or others, or people that might be a consultant, maybe a sole proprietor that's working, maybe a single mom taking care of her family. She can get the money much faster, doesn't have to take it through all those payment channels that sometimes might not work. And if someone denies your credit card, you could be in real trouble. With crypto, with Bitcoin, no one can deny you using that. If you've got the money there and you've got your Bitcoin, you want to deal with someone else, no one can stop you.
Okay. We have another, it's not really a question, but it's a statement.
Oh, let's see. Dr. Kathy Tatum said, I take cryptocurrency for my nonprofit Collaborating Voices Foundation. Good for you. And can get tax exemption receipt. Yes, indeed. See, that's a really good way to do it. You being open to take cryptocurrency. Those of you that are getting paid, you're entrepreneurs, or you've got a retail shop, or you're dealing with options that way, a small business. Crypto is something you want to look into and find ways that you can accept that. Just learning what it does is going to be a real big help. So again, I'm asking you to invest in your education first. Invest in the education, and then see your competent financial professionals about whether you should go further and take other decisions.
Okay, great. So we'll wait one more minute for a question. Oh, we do have a few. Wait, it just popped. I think probably we can use this one.
Okay, the big question this morning was how to protect your NFT if someone else posts it before you as an artist. Yeah, those are going to be issues. I'm not an expert on NFTs, but I would think what you want to do is before you make it available, make sure it's locked down. There are places now that are using that. I've been to some conferences where there's some people that are getting into the space of NFTs. It's a new market, so we're all learning as we go. But I would say before you put it out there, before you put something out available to the world, make sure that you've got that security in place. That's going to be important because right now it's very easy to copy. You just put a song out there and people can copy it very easily. That's not a good thing if it's someone wants that information out there. But if they don't, I would say make sure you get the expert help from some people that are studying and working with NFTs. Some blockchain programmers would be real good to tap into.
Okay, and we have a really specific question, but I will ask it generally. What do you have to say, like a tip or something, if someone is trading for you the cryptocurrencies?
If they're trading for you, obviously, as if they were doing that with your money, with just fiat money, with US dollars or shekel or euros or whatever, you want to be very careful on that and make sure someone you can trust, make sure that they're verified. And by trusting, what you'll want to do is make sure that you've seen good experience, a good track record first. And of course, getting the proper authorities. Don't try this on your own. You could lose money. People have done that. And it's easy to lose money because once it's gone, there's no refund. That's the thing. If you say buy something with a credit card, depending on the policies of your card, you might be able to get a refund if something goes wrong. The credit card is standing in the middle between the two. They take a small percentage for that. But with Bitcoin, once you send that money over to someone else and they've got it, you cannot get it back unless they decide, oh, I will give you a refund because it's the right thing to do. So be very careful on that. And that's where the education comes in, is really imperative on that.
Okay. We have a question, how to buy Bitcoin on
Pay-by. I'm not familiar with Pay-by, Paybis. I have not heard of that, but there are many places where you can. Bitcoin.com is one place that you can go. Coinbase is another place you can go. There are many out there, but be very careful. Coinbase is one of the best in the United States because it is the largest exchange that's out there. So they are vetted. They make sure they do it legally, and that is a safe place. Bitcoin.com is a place you can go also. And it's sometimes a little bit tougher for American citizens to do that because of the laws. They're based over in Japan. And so if you're outside the U.S., you might find that a little bit more helpful.
Okay, great. We have another question.
Are there NFT groups or blockchain groups that you could recommend joining? That is good. There are blockchain groups of people. There are many of them out there on Facebook. And so if you were to type blockchain, you'll find many that are available. I'm not involved in those right now, but I find there are a lot that are there. I found a lot of people through Podfest and through the blockchain Bitcoin conference here in Florida that people are using that right now. And so I would say do those Google searches, look around and see what's available. I love the fact that Facebook has so many groups that are available. Find those that are particularly good and work with those.
Great. We have a question about taxes on crypto.
How do taxes work with relation to crypto? If I invest $500 in crypto and make a profit, say $50,000, how is the crypto income looked at by the U.S. government? Can they tax the crypto gains? The IRS says yes, it is treated as property. So that if you receive that, let's say you did $500 and it immediately jumped to $500,000, just hypothetically. It has not done that. We don't expect that, but just for the sake of a hypothetical. If it did that and you say, gee, I'm going to cash some of this in, what you would have to do is you would pay capital gains taxes on that, not ordinary tax, but it would be capital gains tax if you've held it for over a year. If you do it immediately, then you would be paying ordinary tax on that. Now, I'm not making any kind of tax advice here. See your tax planner for that on how it's handled. But because the IRS in the United States, the Internal Revenue Service, treats it as property, it's the same as if you received, say, a piece of property, some real estate, and it jumped in price and you turned around and sold it. It would be treated with the same tax implications.
Okay. And Dr. Kathy has another suggestion.
I do government contracts and received an email the government will be paying us crypto. Well, I'd say that's a good thing then. If they are, I imagine they're going to give you a choice. It probably wouldn't be only crypto. It would probably be choice of US dollars or crypto. They might have some other possibilities as well. Check with them on what they're doing. One of the ways I would say do that is remember you're going to owe taxes on that. When it comes in crypto, and if you cash it immediately, it will be subject to your ordinary taxes. And by the way, they're looking at raising taxes substantially in the United States. If that happens, that's going to have a lot of ripple effects that would be, that'd be a subject for a whole new seminar here. There would be on what's the economic ramifications of that, but that'd be another thing. But I think what you would do is you would want to, I would say if I lived in Miami and worked for the city, what I would do is I'd get my paycheck in Bitcoin, and then I would say, okay, out of this much money that I've earned that's paid in Bitcoin, I need this much of it to pay for the bills, whatever it would be, for the rent, for some groceries, et cetera, et cetera. I would immediately turn that into cash. That would be taxed as ordinary income. And the rest of it, I would put somewhere else. It would be treated as a tax as well. I would pay on that for the year of receipt, but try to keep that. And I do that, hold on for dear life, hodl. So that way, because just personally, I believe that Bitcoin is going to go up in price. That's my feeling. I can't tell you whether it is or not. I do guarantee this. I will make this guarantee. It's either going to go up, go down, or stay the same. Okay, now how's that for taking a chance? Yeah, right, Terry. That doesn't mean anything. Well, I feel personally it probably will, but I can't tell you what to do. But if I were getting paid in it, I would keep some of it and just put it away safely, legally, in a place where I know I could have it later, so that if, say, 5-10 years from now, I would want to tap into it then, hey, that'd be a good thing to do.
Okay, we have a lot of questions. We will have the two last ones. So how to sell it for cash?
How to sell it for cash? What you would do is you would go to go through Coinbase, an exchange I can speak for in the United States, or Kraken, Kraken. These are places where you can take your Bitcoin, you put it in there, and then you register your bank, your account, and then they would turn the money into US dollars or whatever fiat currency that might be, euros or Japanese yen or shekels or whatever it might be. And they can then transfer that into that and send it over to your bank. I've done that from time to time, and my accountant sees that, and we take care of it so that I get some Bitcoin, and I wanted to send some of that over to my bank account. I converted it to US dollars there on Coinbase. Then I had Coinbase send that over to my bank account. That's the procedure you'll go through. It has to get set up first. But once it's set up, then it's a matter of following the steps.
Okay. And the last question is, where to start?
Where to start? It's very easy. You go to a place like Coinbase or Bitcoin and just you can use your credit card and you can buy so much Bitcoin, whatever you want. You wouldn't want to buy $1 because the fees wouldn't be worth it. But some people will start with $50 or $100. Some might want more than that. And again, it's up to you. And I would check with your financial advisors on that. But think of it like, okay, I'll get just a little bit here and let's just see how it is. And then you store that. And I would recommend keeping that on what we call a hardware wallet. You can look up a hardware wallet. It's kind of like a USB drive, and you put it over there. If you leave it on the exchange, on some exchanges it can be safe, but many people have lost money because the hackers got into the exchange and stole it. I would recommend a hardware wallet, and this would be on the scope of a beginning class to look at, but just write down the words hardware wallet, look it up on Bitcoin, do a Google search on it, look at hardware wallets, and you'll see education on that with a lot of courses available over at bitcoin.com. That's a place where you can go and you can go through the course and it answers all the, yeah, but what about, and what is this, and what is that?
Amazing. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for coming for this interesting workshop. And of course, you, Terry, for coming again to present in BIGVU.
Well, glad to do it. And Tal, thank you so much for your help. By the way, everyone, a big round of applause for Tal. We know we hear you. Okay, we're all together. We're applauding Tal for the work she does. She keeps it running smoothly, very professionally, and doing the right thing. Tal, thanks again. Always good to see you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.